Hi guys, good evening and welcome back. So quickly, today we'll try to discuss some of the interview questions which are asked by most some of the good companies. So some top MNC companies asked these questions. So let us try to go through each and every questions now. Okay. So let me open my notepad. So the first question is OOPS concept in your project. So whenever they ask OOPS concept in your project, so you have to explain all the OOPS concept like encapsulation and polymorphism and inheritance and other stuff, right? So when it comes to encapsulation, like all the web elements will be we'll be declaring it as a private so that we can be accessible only within the particular class. So if you want any if you want to access those web element in other classes, so we have to provide the getter and setter methods. So that is encapsulation. And polymorphism is the same method with different implementation. So for example, login method, so login with username and password and login with Google and single sign-on methods we can explain, right? So like that. So I mean, when it comes to the inheritance and interface, so inheritance is basically there will be a base class where we will be launching all the browser and maximizing the browser and other stuff, loading the files and all. So all the the classes will be child classes will be implementing, I mean not implementing, will be extending the methods which are available in the parent class, so that all the child classes will inherit the properties of the parent class. So when it comes to inheritance is a very huge concept in the Java. So maybe we are not that much used into the automation testing. For example, WebDriver itself is an interface. So basically, the interface itself will be having certain set of instructions how the child classes should implement. So basically, there will be methods which they will not be having any implementation. In the child classes, we have to implement them. Say for example, if there is an interface called bank, so there will be a method the interest rates. So the all the child classes, for example, HDFC Bank and Canara Bank or SBI Bank or ICICI Bank, so they have to implement this interest rate method in their own classes according to their own bank interest rates. So it will be like that. The concept will be like that. So then comes the difference between the hash map and hash set. So basically, the hash map works based on the key value principle, and the hash set works it stores only the unique values. So when it comes to the hash map, it will allow only one null key and multiple null values. So hash set will allow one null value. So hash map and hash set both internally works the same way. So as it internally uses the hash map logic itself. So the same way it will generate one hash code and it will store it into the once after generating the hash code, it will create a node and it will store the value. So check if two words are anagrams. So basically what we have to check is so these words both are having the same characters or not. So that is what we want to verify. So first of all, to convert these words. So basically these words are strings, right? So we have to convert them into the character array, and after converting them into the character array, we have to sort those character array, so that after sorting we can use an inbuilt method array start equals of first array and second array. So that will give me the boolean value like whether it is true or false. So if it is true, then both are uh, what is that, anagrams, so both are having the same characters. So explain your project structure. So we can explain, right? There will be a base classes, there will be util classes, and there will be a test classes, and there will be a base package where we'll be having the base class, and each and every base classes will be having its own web element and page actions methods. So in the test classes we'll be calling them and we'll be performing the validations which we want to verify. So we can explain in that in such a way that so test report will be there, and pom.xml will be there, and testng.xml will be there, and stuff like that. So we can explain in detail, take one package, so explain in detail and go to the next package, so that we can explain. So how do you optimize a test script? So this is very very important, guys. So optimizing the test script is basically wherever it is necessary we have to put the explicit wait instead of the thread.sleep. So thread.sleep is not the recommended way. We have to make use of the explicit wait, and wherever it is necessary, we have to reuse the methods. So we should not create any duplicate methods. So existing methods only we have to reuse it, so that our framework is scalable in such a way that so it can handle the multiple scenarios. So there will be a generic methods, so we have to make use of them, and we have to call wherever it is necessary. So stuff like that. So for when it comes to performance and optimization thing, so we can do all those stuff like that. So how do you rerun the file test script automatically? So we can write one I retry analyzer, right? So that will run whenever the test cases fails. So whatever the max count we have given, say for example if we give 3, so if any test case fails, so it will again it will check the another 3 attempts. So totally it will be 4 attempts, one failed, and the retried 3 attempts. So that is how we can do it. So if you want to do it manually, so we have to go with testng.fail.xml file, so we can run that as well. So that is what the next question is. So how do you rerun only the failed test cases using the, yeah, that is what the question is. So write a code to perform a drag and drop. So basically drag and drop will be performed using the action classes. First we have to create an object of the action class which will be expecting the driver as a parameter, and after that in the action class we have a method called drag and drop, which will be expecting the source and target. So we have to provide the source which we want to drag and where we have to drop. So after that don't forget to add the perform method so that it will be performed. How do you handle switching between multiple frames? So it's same as switching the pop-ups here also, we have the same question. So we do have a method first of all we have to get, when it comes to pop-up we have to get the driver dot get window handle, which will give us the parent window id. And after that we have to click on the pop-ups where it will open multiple pop-ups. And after that driver dot get window handles, it will provide a set of string web elements, we have to it will provide the set of all the window IDs. So after that by comparing, if it is not a parent window, then we can do the switch using the driver dot switch to dot window of that particular window ID. So window ID will be in the string, so we can pass the string. So when it comes to the frames also same, driver dot switch to dot frame of that particular frame or index, frame ID or index. By making use of that we can switch it to that particular frame. So how do you navigate to the URLs? So we do have a method, right? Like it's simple. So driver dot navigate dot to of that URL, so we can do that. How do you perform the parameterization in test scripts? So parameterization is simple, guys. So it is so we have to provide the parameters in the testng.xml. So in the code wherever it is necessary, we can read that parameters, right, using the parameter annotation in the testng.xml, so that we can do it. How do you achieve data driven testing in your test script? So it is also if the test data is available in the Excel format, first we have to read the data from the Excel format and we have to return one object array, two-dimensional object array. So in the data provider annotation, we have to create a method, and we have to call that particular method where it will be returning the two-dimensional object array. And so that will return the same object, and wherever it is required we have to call that data driven data provider method, so that it will be supplying those values. So if you guys are interested knowing the practical implementation, please don't forget to let me know in the comments, so that I can show the code and all for these kind of things, guys. So how do you run your test script in parallel? So we can run this parallel. So parallel is equal to test in the testng.xml, and threads equal to how many thread counts we can give it, and also whether it is a test or methods we can give it and we can run it, so it will work. So for parallel testing we can make use of the Selenium grid as well. So we have to create a Selenium hub and node setup, and using the Docker, or in our own standalone also, and then we can connect through the remote WebDriver and we can start executing it, guys. How do you run 1,000 test cases and reduce the execution time? So one is parallel testing we can use, and headless mode we can do it, and if required, grouping we can do, and only the required test cases we can execute. It depends on the requirement, guys. If all 1000 to be executed, parallel and headless is the solution. How do you perform the different actions on the element using the action classes? Again, same. Create an object of the action class and make use of the methods, and what is the action that you want to perform, whether you want to move to the element, or whether you want to drag and drop, whether you want to do the scrolling, something like that. Whatever you want to do, you can do that. How do you validate the response from microservice? So it's basically an API question. So first we have to get the response from the API. So based on the response, we have to do the validation. Say for example, in the typical REST assured structure given when, so that will return the response as an object. So after that, we have to create one JSON object. We have to create an object of JSON object class, and that will be expecting this response. We have to pass that response as string. So after that, using that variable, we can perform using the JSON path or get JSON array, or based on the requirement we can perform the actions, guys. So then explain about the Selenium grid and page object model. So I think I already explained with the parallel testing, I guess. So we have to set up the Selenium hub and nodes, and then we have to connect to the remote web driver, and we can start executing it, guys. So that's the only thing which is required here. So I think we are pretty much done with the questions. So if you have any concerns, please do let me know in the comments down below. And also, if you want to know the practical implementation or coding part for these kind of a questions or any questions, please do let me know in the comments down below, guys. So that I can show you with the code as well, so that you guys will be getting to know, and it will be easy for you in the interview as well. So if you like my content, please hit the like button, share and subscribe to my channel, guys. Thank you so very much for watching. Thank you.